Hello everybody, tonight's video is on section 7.7, operations on functions. Make sure that you take notes and have any questions ready for class tomorrow. So, arithmetic operations. So for any two functions, f of x and g of x, you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide by the following rule. Okay, here's this chart. Just make sure you write this down or have some form of it on your paper. So for basically any of these, if we're talking about this new notation, like f plus g of x is the same as doing f of x plus g of x, and it pretty much works for anything. The only thing that really changes is that when you divide, you have to make sure that g of x does not equal to 0, because then we have a division by 0 that can cause some issues. Okay. So, like I said, make sure you have this copied down because it is important to have those basic definitions. Okay, so let's jump into some examples. First example is adding and subtracting functions. So given that f of x equals x squared minus 3x plus 1, excuse me, and g of x equals 4x plus 5, find each function. So if we have f plus g of x, here's our rule, then that means that we have x squared minus 3x plus 1 plus 4x plus 5. Then from there we just combine any kind of like terms, and we get x squared plus x plus 6. Okay, now let's see what it looks like with subtraction. So if we have f minus g of x, then that's the same as f of x minus g of x. So we get x squared minus 3x plus 1 minus 4x plus 5. Again, it's like combining like terms, except now we're subtracting. So we get x squared minus 7x minus 4. Okay. Make sure you get down these examples. Now, let's look at an example of multiplying and dividing. So, if we have f of x equals x squared plus 5x minus 1, and g of x, which is equal to 3x minus 2, then let's start with multiplying. Okay, so if you have f times g of x, that's the same as f of x times g of x. So we get x squared plus 5x minus 1 times 3x minus 2. Okay, so from here we would distribute, so we would do 3x times x squared, 2 times x squared, negative 2 times x squared, 5x times 3x, 5x times negative 2, negative 1 times 3x, negative 1 times negative 2, and we get 3x to the third minus 2x squared plus 15x squared minus 10x minus 3x plus 2. And then last thing we do with this one is we combine like terms. So we get 3x to the third minus 13x squared minus 13x plus 2. Okay, so now let's look at division. We get f divided by g of x, and we get, remember that's the same as f of x divided by g of x. So we get x squared plus 5x minus 1 divided by 3x minus 2. Now really what you would check is to see if there's anything that we could simplify. Now the way that we would do that is we would factor the top and then check to see if what's on the bottom would cancel out with whatever's on top. And since in this case x squared plus 5x minus 1 is not factorable, nothing is going to be divided out. Now, we also have this caveat that x cannot equal 2 over 3, and that is because if x equals 2 over 3, that makes 3x minus 2 equal to 0. So, 2 over 3 is excluded from the domain, and we can't use it. So, let's talk about composition of functions. So, we have this long definition that says, suppose f and g are functions such that the range of g is a subset of the domain of f. Then the composite function, f of g, can be described by the following equation. So f composed of g of x equals f of g of x. So pretty much we're taking our functions and kind of putting them into each other. So let's see what that looks like in a couple examples. So, and this will make a little bit more sense. So find f composed of g of x and g composed of f of x for f of x equals x plus 3 and g of x equals x squared plus x minus 1. So let's start with f composed of g of x, which is the same as f of g of x. Okay, so we get f of x squared plus x minus 1, which is, if you notice, g of x. So then we put g of x into f of x, which is, so we get x squared plus x minus 1 plus 3. Combine like terms, and we get x squared plus x plus 2. So let's look at it for the reverse, the g composed of f. So we get g of f of x. So we get g of x plus 3. And then we're going to put x plus 3 every time I see an x in g of x. So I get x plus 3 squared plus x plus 3 minus 1. So we got to remember to factor, or to multiply and distribute that x plus 3. So we get x squared plus 6x plus 9 from that, and then the x plus 3 minus 1, combine like terms, and we get x squared plus 7x plus 11. Make sure you get these down. Alright, so if you have any questions, make sure you write them down on your notes and bring them in for class.